Hello, it's day 140 of the Liberator project, and I'm sorry to report really didn't make any progress today on the project, but doing a few basic chores in the house, but nothing worth putting on a video. I've done some cooking, made a rather nice pasta dish, but it wasn't different enough from other dishes I've cooked before, and also it didn't really warrant making a cooking video on that. But next time I'm cooking something more interesting that I haven't done before, like I might do I don't know, for Adam, I might do a particular something basic like spaghetti bolognese or a chili, something easy that anyone can try, so you've got no excuse. Right. So anyway, what I thought I'd do today is I haven't really got anything too specific to talk about. I thought I'd talk about the doctorate I was going to do. Now, that was in 2010. I was going back to Keele University to do this. It was a PhD it was in computer science, and more specifically, I was looking at how an artificial intelligence could process audio signals and actually comprehend sounds. And well, as you know by now, about this time in my life, I had a few problems arrive, and I wasn't able to do that. I mean, even once the problems had gone, especially one large big blonde problem, once that had gone from my life, I mean, I still had a lot to do, and I had enough to on my plate at the time before taking on some study. If I'd have I had my PhD approved, but if I'd have actually gone to study it, it would have cost me my flat, and I'd have never recovered from the money it would have cost me. And it's in life, it's not about having a vanity project or doing something for fun. Your career is important, and at the time, as a sort of design consultant, I was earning more than even the senior lecturers, so it wouldn't have it wouldn't have been worthwhile. It would have cost me my flat, almost certainly, even if I was working full-time as a lecturer and doing my postgrad study. Still, you don't earn enough. I'd have still lost everything, so didn't do it in the end. Now, what I really wanted to do by my plan was I wanted to start with AI audio processing, and that was going to be a stepping stone to doing visual processing. So I wanted the AI system to actually comprehend sounds, and then it would create from that a model of the world, and then it would compare the model with the real world. It would be an ongoing thing over a period of time. So it would continually improve the model, trying to make it closer and closer to reality. It would adapt it and tweak it until the model was fairly accurate on its predictions. And obviously, the longer that went on, the greater the accuracy would improve. Then the next stage would have been to incorporate itself into the model. So give it a basic sort of self-awareness, a sort of awareness of itself in the environment it was in. And again, it would do sort of a compare the model with what the senses were telling it, and it would correct and improve the model. Now from that, if you actually artificially gave the program desires, what's the word I'm looking for, motivations, then you could use the current model that it created to try different things, and from that you could predict the outcome of those, and then it will be able to predict the consequences of its actions. And from that, you could compare the result with your desire, and you could then pick the best result for the action that would meet your goal. So it would be a sort of really quite an advance in AI, but obviously that is quite a major project. Now, I estimated, I'm quite good usually at estimating projects, that just the audio part of that system would be about 15 man years of work to do it. So, to do a PhD, you want something that can be done in 3 years. So I talked about this with one of the professors, and what we decided was to model that down into music analysis, not sort of detailed models and comprehensions, just looking at music analysis with a scheme that was called Waggle Juice. And what it did, or what it would have done, was to create a sort of an image which was the musical fingerprint of a particular type of music, and that will be comprised of the sort of note frequencies, the rate of change, which could be tempo, I suppose, note duration, and it would basically create a two-dimensional picture of what the music was doing. And then, there's no reason why you have a two-dimensional model. You could make it 3 dimensions, 4 dimensions. You keep adding them as you felt to get more and more detailed analysis of the music. So you could do things like, you could have other dimensions that were relative harmonic content. You could have relative frequency, duration, and differentiation. You could have a ratio of percussive and melodic, sounds. There's a lot you could do with that, but we were going to go for a 2D model because then it's really easy. Once you've created this 2D image, you could then use loads of freely available image processing software, such as image correlators, which would then give you loads of processing abilities to do with, that you didn't have to write from scratch. They already existed. So the idea was this would be very quickly, you could modify that to be a commercial product where you could sell that to sort of, companies that, music companies that are selling you something, and it would, excuse me, this is bad camera work again, but it's what we've come to know and love here. Hang on. So you could you create a sort of fingerprint or an image of the music, and then you could repeat that, and you could learn what people liked. So you could say, I like music that has this sort of fingerprint, and then it could correlate that to other music, and it would give you a rough figure about the probability of you actually liking a piece of music given your past musical taste. So that'd be very useful, I thought, as a sort of predictive marketing tool. But it was more powerful than that, because what you could have done, you could have learnt a particular musical style. So you could have played loads and loads of rock songs, get the fingerprints from, say, a sort of 70s rock music, or from 90s synth rock. You could do loads of things, and then basically you could get a new bit of music, and you could compare how well its musical fingerprint correlated to ones from particular styles. So for a musical analysis, you could put a song into it, and it would tell you it was like 35% jazz, 85% rock, 75% Gary Newman. These obviously are not. These are not normalized percentages. It would only say how accurately, how much like a particular fingerprint it was. So that's why they don't add up to 100%. And you could learn a particular composer, and you could do something like you could learn you put all the Beatles catalogue through this thing. I'm thinking of this, Neil. What you could do is then you get a musical fingerprint, or a range of attributes that define what a Beatles song would be like, and then you could do the same for Lennon, McCartney, George Harrison, Ringo Starr, and then you could run any particular Beatles song through the analysis, and it would tell you how well it correlated to the different members of the band. So it might say it's like, I don't know, 95% John Lennon, 70% McCartney, 60% Harrison, 40% Ringo. Again, the figures were not, these are not normalised, so I know they don't add up to 100. But it was just a sort of very useful tool, and it will be quite easy. You could quite easily do that project in 3 years, really easily. But it would be a case of, once you've got the basic system working, then it would be a case of improving it and adding extra dimensions onto the model, creating, it doesn't have to be 3 dimensions. You could have a 7-dimensional object that it created, and that would be, very useful, I think, as a musical analyzer. I cooked, but I didn't even drink the wine. So anyway, that was going to be a very interesting project for me. I think the Waggle Juice could easily have been done in 3 years, or the basic program could have been done in a year, and then a couple of years improving it to actually get some real world results. And that would have been sort of entry level, and from that then I'd have carried on with the idea of music comprehension, which means creating an object from the that's quite involved really, but it's not just the computer hearing a sound. It would give it attributes. It might say, I'm hearing an object and it's metallic, or it's where it is spatially, how large it is. It could learn things about the room attributes. It could identify speech, music. It would try and have more of an understanding of what it was listening to. But anyway, that was it never happened, but I thought I'd share it anyway. Okay, I hope that was interesting, and it was something different today, because you don't want me to keep going on about relationships because that's all just bad news. Let's try and be a bit happier. Okay, see you tomorrow. Goodbye.